guys. So I'm listening to Jamal Stranahan Fault Lines, and I'm talking about just war and America always being at war, and how when this explosion they had in Beirut, how because this is my opinion, because America has waged so much war and made the world be in a tumultuous situation. It's like every interaction we deal with, it just makes sense. It don't make sense. It's like America has made the world a much more unstable place. And they're talking about war doesn't cost peace doesn't cost anything. That's what one of the callers called in and said. And Stranahan said that's not true. That, war, peace costs, ambassadors, embassies. You have to, for you to get peace, like anything else, you have to want it. You've got to, put it out there. And I thought of something that no one has spoke about, and that is that, to me, the value of peace has to be a cultural imperative. What I mean by that, it's pretty simple. We have a generation now, Call of Duty, all these war games out here. We have a generation of people that aren't really following what the government does. They're not. And we engage in war all over the world. People don't really care about it. Basically, people have become detached from being involved with the foreign policy and all that, as well as the fact that with the war games, with the culture of violence, we've been desensitized somewhat, if you will, and that's what's happened. That's what has happened. We have become desensitized. Too sharp, and then that's I hate to say that's what's happened. We become desensitized to this business, and it needs to be a cultural imperative that we want to live in harmony with others. We want to live in harmony with nature. We want to, we have. It's also got to do with values. It's got to do with cultural values, cultural mores, cultural norms. That the idea of being at war for 20 years on the basis of a lie. I feel like Americans have kind of accepted the fact that the military is going to do. It's basically we're out of touch with what our military does. Like, we're all just the proletariat. We're just surviving, and we're not really involved. Like with Blackadder. Michael Brooks brought to my attention there was a book called Blackadder, written back in the day, that was talking about how the very rich got scientists together, and the scientists said, "Look, the world has had it. Climate change is running its course." And so the very rich blast off into space. And that's kind of what you're looking at now with SpaceX and things like that. That we've decided to run through the wall. To run right through the brick wall. And that we're not really a part, or you're not really a part of this system. Democracy, all that doesn't matter. So we can take your votes. We can do this. We can have all these troops in Africa and not even tell Congress. This is what an empire in decline does. They break all of their own rules. All of the rules that they value, they break. And that's what we're looking at right now. I really do believe that if you're going to talk about peace, when you're talking about superpower like America, I think you've got to also speak about that concept holding that as a right, valuing human life, valuing human dignity, and using the power you have, using the bully pulpit you have to forward that idea of peace. I think that's what the League of Nations was about. The UN was about. That was the unswerving mission of those institutions, was that, hey, we can have a world without war. We can have a war without nuclear war. Maybe we can have a world without nukes, but we're not worrying about that. We're not worried about chemical weapons. That we as a world, we can be better than that. That to me, and you're looking at Trump, he's attacked the International Criminal Court, named people, and put their names out there that they could do this to those people. You had Pompeo threatened the International Criminal Court. We pulled out of the WHO in the middle of a pandemic. We're acting as though the pandemic doesn't exist. I mean, Trump has really destabilized the world stage. It's not like he's the first president who could have done it. It's just that no one's ever thought like this. And that's to me what a failing empire is. Bernie would have been putting the old man to sleep, putting the empire to sleep. And Trump is like, no, we're going to just rev this thing up and rev it up until the engine blows. And that to me basically is what Trump represents. He represents running the world off the cliff. Peace, y'all.